Hey everyone, thank you for clicking on this video. Please like this video and comment what your thoughts are about this case. Also, subscribe if you haven't, and subscribe if you haven't. Anyways, we're gonna talk about a crime case where it was really frustrating to do, simply because it it just reminds me so much about how to get away with murder. I don't know if you know that series, but it reminds me of How to Get Away with Murder. It also reminds me of Norman Bates series, where he murders and he doesn't remember, right? It kind of gives me that, thing. And also like Murray, like You're Not the Father. It reminds me so much of so many movies or shows. And I'm like, she probably could have got the idea from these as well. You never know. But anyways, let us get started on this. All right, so this is the face of a woman who, when arrested, disregarded her family and best friend's concerns about her missing daughter. While on a phone call in jail, she desperately demanded to speak to her boyfriend and responded with, and I quote, "They just want Caylee back. That's all they are worried about right now." This is the face of Casey Anthony, who disclosed in an interview in 2017 that, and I quote, "I don't give a shit about what anybody thinks about me. I don't care about that. I never will. I'm okay with myself. I sleep pretty good at night." This is the face of an irresponsible, emotionless, careless, pathological liar who showed no form of regards or urgency to finding her 3-year-old missing daughter. Casey Anthony was born on March 19, 1986, by parents Cindy and George Anthony. According to her parents, she was a very energetic and intelligent young lady who always found ways to make them laugh. Casey found out that she was pregnant at 18 years old. Her parents suspected that she was pregnant due to her weight gain, but Casey denied it and claimed that she was a virgin. Months into her pregnancy, she confessed the truth to her parents. Her parents described it to be a very happy moment. Casey was happy to be a mother, and they were overjoyed to be grandparents. However, a friend of Casey said that she had discussed giving the baby up for adoption, but was discouraged by her mother. So, this proves that she didn't want a baby. She wanted to really live and freely live her youthful life, being young, wild, and free with her boyfriend and friends. And she didn't know or wasn't interested to know how she could balance both of them. She wanted to live carefreely. And unfortunately, Caylee, her daughter, took that away from her, because once she became a mother, she knew that she would have to sacrifice something for her Bella Vita. And you will find out shortly what that's all about. Just like any parents would be interested to know who the father is, Casey told them that the baby daddy and her were no longer together. The parents insisted on meeting him, but then she convinced them that Jess, her then fiance, was the father, and he was present during Caylee's birth. Later down the line, DNA tests proved that he wasn't the father. In fact, it was reported that Casey doesn't and didn't know who Caylee's father is. You know, it's a totally common situation, and I'm pretty sure that you've heard of at least one situation of a mother completely clueless of who the father is and given the title and responsibility to another man. In this case, she may know who the father is, but sources say it could be a man she previously dated, you know, however, he died in a car accident, a very tragic car accident. But why not just be truthful, right? If he died in a car accident, why not just be truthful? Well, it could be of great shame and embarrassment and fear of being heavily shunned by her parents. Or maybe she just thought she could get away with it, get away with her promiscuity by pinning the responsibility on another man without his honest awareness. Sadly, that's what she did. Caylee Marie Anthony was born on August 9 of 2005. She was described by her grandparents to be just like her mother when she was her age. She also loved to go swimming in the backyard pool. In addition to the baby daddy lie, Casey told many lies as a kid, which were not negatively sanctioned, but rather brushed off. And I could see how this played a huge part in her being such an eloquent, pathological liar. There was the graduation lie, where Casey's grandparents, along with her parents, attended her graduation because they were led to believe that she would walk with the graduating class, only to find out when they arrived that she stopped attending classes towards the end of the school year. Casey Anthony is a pathological liar. When she lies, it's done so effortlessly, flawlessly, and eloquently, with no hesitation, no rolling of the eyes towards the top of the head to search for the words. There's no With each statement made and question answered in that moment, she answered and stated as if she had studied it for 31 days. Have you ever been boyfriend obsessed? Like you didn't leave his sight. Everywhere he went, you were basically his handbag. It was toxic yet exciting. He brought thrill and adventure to your boring life. You didn't want him to leave you out. No. Maybe he was a little bad or very bad for you, but he was the reason why you were mostly happy and always laughing. He was your escape. Even if there was an argument or trust issues, you were still happily intoxicated by his charm and the attention he gave you. His response and opinion was of great value to you, so much that you lost yourself and became a slave to him. Well, my friends, that was once me, and I strongly believe that was Casey Anthony too. In fact, her boyfriend said in an interview with the police that he wanted to leave her, but was trying to dump her smoothly by telling her that he would never marry a woman who has a child. Later, this brought him strong guilt, and you will see why. Keep watching. Question is, could she have taken her daughter's life to have a life with him? After all, she was a 22-year-old rebel who usually got away with little white lies, right? Caylee Anthony was last seen with her mother on June 16 of 2008. Casey told her parents that she would take Caylee with her while traveling between Jacksonville and Tampa, Florida for a week filled of work responsibilities. George Anthony recalls his last moments with his granddaughter. He reminisced that he helped her get into her car seat and blowed kisses goodbye. Over the weeks, Casey's parents kept pleading to speak to Caylee, but the excuses and the lies were so convincing. Casey would say that she was too busy, and the nanny who went by the name of Zanny had her. During that time, she told her parents that her car was having issues and she had to take it to get fixed. Cindy, in an interview, said that these were reasonable explanations which made complete sense at the moment. On July 15 of 2008, George got a call that the family car, which was only driven by Caylee, was at the impound lot. This is the same car that Caylee was using to drive for work responsibilities. When the grandparents went to collect the car, there was a foul scent of what they compared to as a decomposing body emanating from the trunk of the car. With 10 years of law enforcement experience under George's belt, he was instantly convinced that there was a dead human body in the trunk. He testified on trial that, and I quote, "That particular smell, whenever you smell it, it's something you never forget." Furthermore, there are 3 perspectives that were sadly overlooked in court. The first was Simon Birch, the manager of the towing company that impounded Caylee's car in June 2008. He testified that he had encountered multiple vehicles with dead bodies during his 3 decades in the business, and that smell from Caylee's car was consistent with those past experiences. Third was by the crime scene investigator experts, who were strongly convinced, that there was human decomposition in Caylee's trunk. There was also a trained cadaver dog who detected that there was human decomposition in Caylee's trunk. Then there's Dr. Kenneth Furton, a specialized scent detection forensic chemist, who later agreed in an interview with Marcia Clark in 2001 that the scent was consistent with that of human decomposition smell. But while testifying for the defense in 2011, he wasn't allowed to testify to the fact that cadaver dogs are very reliable, and himself believed that there was human remains in the trunk. If he was on the prosecutor's side, I strongly believe he wouldn't be barred from speaking the full facts. I forgot to mention that Cindy and George had to track down Caylee by probing her friends of her location. And when they found her, she was with her boyfriend, chilling and smoking marijuana in their apartment. Due to the continual change and confusion in Caylee's story, Cindy frantically called 911.
911, what's your emergency? I called a little bit ago. The deputy sheriff said I found out my granddaughter has been taken. She has been missing for a month. Her mother finally admitted that she's been missing.
Okay, what is
here now?
Okay, what is the address that you're calling from?
We're talking about a 3-year-old little girl. My daughter finally admitted that the baby's in the store. I need to find her.
Your daughter admitted that the baby is where?
But the babysitter took her a month ago that my daughter's been looking for. I told you my daughter was missing for a month. I just found her today, but I can't find my granddaughter. And she just admitted to me that she's been trying to find her herself. There's something wrong. I found my daughter's car.
Is your daughter there?
I'm on the phone with them.
Is your daughter there?
Yes.
Can I speak with her? Do you mind if I speak with her? Thank you.
I called them 2 hours ago. They haven't gotten here. Can she finally admitted to answer the question? Hello?
Hello?
Yes.
Hi. Well, can you tell me what's going on a little bit?
I'm sorry?
Can you tell me a little bit what's going on?
My daughter's been missing for the last 31 days.
And you know who has her?
It was confusing because Caylee told her dad that she dropped Caylee off at the Zanny's house and she couldn't find her. Then Cindy overheard Caylee telling her brother that Zanny the nanny had kidnapped her. I mean, come on. If you were trying to find her for 31 days, why wasn't anyone alerted? Why would you take so long to report to the police? In fact, she did not report to the police. It was her mother. Is it possible that she really thought that she could get away with it and try to conjure up more lies? Why would she be partying throughout the 31 days. And on July 2, she got a tattoo that reads Bella Vita, which translates to beautiful life in Italian. Like, why wouldn't you tell anyone? And I think that's the most, mind-blowing part of this entire thing. Like, why wouldn't you tell the people that care, the people that can do something about it? You know what I'm saying? Why was her demeanor throughout the 31 days described as normal and carefree, not convinced or negatively affected in any way? Unfortunately, there was no video evidence of Caylee, and not one of Casey's friends that she hung out with had seen or heard anything about Caylee during those moments. And Caylee did not mention anything about her daughter during those days. Did not mention anything about missing child. Nothing about I cannot see her. Nothing. Right? Not one thing. The officers arrived, and unfortunately, all the information she gave them was false. Not even Zanny the nanny was real. The officers drove to the 3 specific locations directed by Caylee to find Caylee's possible whereabouts, but they were all deceived. They were deceived because the names that she had conjured up were incorrect to the locations. She even told them that she worked at Universal Studios and willingly led them around the theme park until she finally admitted that she had never returned to work after being fired 2 years ago. The detectives added that she spent more time talking about becoming a personal trainer than an urgency or concern for her 3-year-old daughter. This brought immediate frustration and confusion upon the officers. They brought her home at 6:45 a.m. on July 16, then arrived to arrest her at 3 p.m. on charges of child neglect, giving false statements to the police, and obstructing an investigation that same day. Leaving Casey Anthony for 9 hours after being lied to and deceived was exactly how the police messed up. You're immediately giving her room to remove any evidence that was there during the 31 days. Here is a list of some of the names that she created from her imagination that drove the police officers crazy and literally drove them on a goose chase, because she told them that they were there, they went there. She told them that she gave them 3 different locations and they went there, right? There was Zenaida Gonzalez, that's Zanny the nanny, who she knew for 4 years. She did not exist. There's Gloria Fernandez, Zanny's mother, who was struggling with heart disease. She did not exist. Samantha Fernandez, Zanny's older sister. There's Jeffrey Hopkins, who she was rekindling a relationship with. He was the only real person who could testify that they were just acquaintances who weren't close at all. He hadn't even seen her since 2002. He didn't have a son either. He denied that in court. And he didn't refer anybody by the name of Zenaida to her because he didn't have a son who Zanny took care of. Right? So she made up all of that. There's Zachary Hopkins, who is Jeffrey's son. And as I just said, he didn't have a son. There's Joel Hopkins, Jeffrey's mother, who was battling cancer. She did not exist. There's Tom Manley and Thomas Frank, Casey's boss at Universal Studio, who didn't exist. Eric Baker, Caylee's father, who died in a motor vehicle accident, right? Still very unknown. He didn't exist. There's Raquel Farrell, Zanny's roommate, who didn't exist. There's Juliette Lewis, co-worker at Universal's, and Annabelle Lewis, Juliet's daughter. These people didn't exist. And is it possible that she could have a mental disorder that enabled her, right, to live and experience these imaginary characters and go to a job for 2 years that didn't exist? Or could she simply be lying like she normally does and get away with it, right? But that doesn't eliminate the fact or the act of filicide. Like, how could you make up all these names yet don't remember or don't know what happened to your daughter within the 31 days? Now, let's talk about the family computer and the framing of her father, George Anthony. Okay, so a website about the toxic chemical chloroform was searched on the Anthony's computer, a search that Cindy Anthony took responsible for on the stands. And chloroform was found in the trunk of the Anthony's car. A software designer testified that someone had searched for chloroform a whopping 84 times and also looked up a term or the terms head injuries, ruptured spleen, chest trauma, and internal bleeding on the Anthony's computer in March of 2008 during the regular working hours of George and Cindy. However, the designer later reported an error in his detecting software and determined that the user visited the site related to chloroform only once. During the investigation process, they had strongly believed that chloroform was used against Caylee, and that could have been possibly used to suffocate her or to knock her unconscious during that time. Due to the fact that he had made the first statement under oath and that the first statement was incorrect, it was only searched once. By law, he had committed perjury, which is a crime. I love that he was honest enough to later correct his report, knowing the consequences. In addition to that, it was later disclosed and proven by Isabel Humphrey, a private attorney, and John Goet, a computer science, during the Marcia Clark investigation of the death of Caylee Anthony in 2001, that the term foolproof suffocation was searched on June 16 of 2008 at 2:51 p.m. when George was at work. They found that the old version, which the defense programmer, designer used, had a timestamp problem. This evidence was also deleted from the Firefox history immediately or within hours before Casey was arrested on July 16 of 2008. This was after she was brought home from searching with the police officers on leading them and deceiving them and lying to them, right? So during this time period, she used this time to go into the Firefox history on the computer and she deleted the history that was there within the 31 days. But this evidence was missed, in which the prosecutor regrets because these strong proof of evidence was not found until after the trial. Furthermore, cell phone towers proved that George made a call to Casey while he was at work that day at 3:01 p.m. There's also proof that Casey was using the computer at her home during this time, right? And during the time foolproof suffocation was searched through email and messaging activities with her friends. Lastly, George was framed to have hidden Caylee's decomposing body in the trunk, then throwing her body in a wooden area above ground. I mean, if he did do that, wouldn't you think an ex-cop would be smart enough to have discarded his granddaughter's body far away and underground? Her body was not found underground or far away. On December 11 of 2008, skeletal remains of Caylee Anthony were found in a plastic bag in a wooden area near the family home. Animals ate at the brittle bones, causing them to lose their original placement, and it was difficult to withdraw any form of substance or chemical evidence, as well as to detect the slightest of fracture or trauma to the bones. The forensic doctor, known as Dr. G, stated that her bones were so decomposed that grass had started growing through them, and if not handled carefully, they would have fallen apart easily. In addition to that, they found duct tape that was fixed to Caylee's hair strands, mouth, and nose area. This was strong evidence to Dr. G that she was suffocated. Hence, her death was ruled a homicide. 3 years after the disappearance of Casey's daughter, the prosecutors seek the death penalty for her, which then started her trial in June 2011. According to the defense, Caylee had drowned in the family pool on June 16, 2008, and George Anthony had covered up the death so that Casey wouldn't be charged with child neglect. Her attorney shocked the courtroom when he said during his opening statement that George had in fact sexually abused Casey beginning when she was 8 years old, and that her brother Lee had sexually advances towards her as well. A paternity test showed that neither Lee nor George Anthony was Caylee's father, and George denied the allegations. The defense. They did everything to switch the attention from what really happened to false incidents that had no evidence and was not factual. Because if he did molest his daughter for years and she hid it from her aware or unaware mother, which a lot of victims do, why didn't she verbally testify against him in court? Why did she just sit there and allow Joe, her lawyer, to build a story? In an interview with George, he stated that he wanted to jump over the court gates and attack the lawyer who kept fabricating stories, but he decided to maintain his composure. He also mentioned that her attorney told him that he must take the blame for the disappearance of Caylee. What really bothers me is the fact that Casey sat there and allowed her lawyer to defame her father's character. I mean, it's so obvious. This reminds me of How to Get Away with Murder series. Like, you know, the lawyer, like, I really can't lie. Joe's statements were very convincing. Incidents of molestation do happen, and fear of opening up about it is very common. He later reminded the jury of a law in the final statement for them to use facts and not anger or pity to make their deliberation. This is what I strongly believe convinced the jury to make her walk away as a free woman, simply because the prosecutors didn't have sufficient evidence to prove that Casey killed her daughter. When the grandparents were asked if they would reopen a case or file a wrongful death lawsuit, they agreed that if Casey decided to create a documentary to try and make money from it, they would definitely file a civil lawsuit. In an interview, her father disclosed that he didn't want to see or talk to his daughter. He lost both of them, his granddaughter and his daughter, when Caylee died. He and his wife still have problems coping with Caylee's death, which is absolutely sad because the mother does not. Well, she did say she sleeps well at night. George felt like he didn't do enough to find her, and he tried to commit suicide because of that. Fortunately, he lived. On July 5, the jury found Anthony not guilty of first-degree murder, aggravated manslaughter, and aggravated child abuse, citing the most circumstantial evidence presented. She was found guilty on 4 counts of providing false information to the law enforcement authorities, and thus sentenced to 4 years in jail and $4,000 in fines. For the 4 counts of lying to police, but the prison time was cancelled out by the near 3 years already spent behind bars, and credits for good behavior. Thank you for watching this video from start to finish. If you haven't, go to the start and watch it to the end, please, and thank you. And understand this case, that it's really a frustrating case, because obviously we know, and it is evident, that she killed her daughter. But she got away with it. Just like how she gets away with every white lie, every little white lie, as they would say, she got away with this one. And it's like, how could you create so much false stories and expect people to believe you? And then the jury believes her. Like, what kind of sick world we live in? Because it's not even just the jury. Yes, the lawyer told them not to use their emotions, not to use their pity, not to be angry, and don't use those emotions to form the deliberation, their final deliberation, but to use facts and evidence, right? It's wicked how she was just acquitted just like that. Yeah, there is so much more, and I'm happy that evidences were found, but it was found on a later date, which is another frustrating part. And the case reminded me so much of How to Get Away with Murder, because the lawyer was a really good lawyer to defend her. He defended her. If anything happened, he would have gotten that's what you call a lawyer, because she literally got away with murder. She got her money's worth, and he lied for her, plain and simple. He fabricated stories against the father, her father, and he fabricated so many stories, which it's absolutely irrelevant to what the problem was or what the case was really about. It was absolutely irrelevant, but he brought it up. And the jury, I don't know, the whole world, majority, there's so many people that's against what happened, and that includes me. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. And it also reminds me of Bates Motel, because what's his name, Norman Bates would go around and kill, but then he wouldn't remember, right? And then sometimes his mother would cover it up. In this case, she really says that she doesn't remember, she doesn't know. But how could you remember so many names and create so many stories in your head, yet you don't remember and don't know what happened to your daughter? You had her? Doesn't make sense to me, right? And it also reminds me of Murray. You are not the father, because she pinned the responsibility on the title and the responsibility on every man that she knows. Which is a wicked move, but she did it. And it just shows that she really didn't want her daughter. And sometimes parents, you should not force your children to do things that they don't want to do, because it would lead them to doing things that they don't want to do. Simple. In this case, I believe the best friend, because the best friend said that she wanted to to give the baby up for adoption. Give the baby up for adoption. You know what I'm saying? She probably would have lived a way longer and happier life. Sadly, the parents are, the interviews were done a long time ago, and they were the ones feeling the most pain, more than the mother of the child. And yeah, but anyways, I hope you like this makeup look, and let me know what you think in the comment section below. Please like this video, please share this video to somebody that you like, or not you like, yeah, share it to somebody that you like. Share it to a family member who you think will like this video. Share it to a friend who you think will like this video, especially my makeup look. It didn't go the way that I had planned it to go, but it went somewhere, right? I did something. And my hair, which is so funny, I used my hair cloth and wrapped it to get like a nice curl. Do you see this? This is beautiful. This is beautiful. This is a beautiful curl. I wrapped it, and yeah, I like my hair. I'm actually gonna keep it in. I'm gonna keep it in for a long time, for a good time, because it actually looks good. It actually looks good. It actually looks very good. I look fire. I look like nice ice. All of the products that I have used, majority of the products that I've used, I will be listing them in the description box below. Please check them out, click on it, and make your purchase. I hope you like how this makeup look looks. Share it, like it, and tell me what you think about the case and my makeup. Have yourself a wonderful day and a wonderful time. And let's see, what I would leave with you guys is, time waits on no man, right? So do the most that you can and be happy and live your life. Do the most that you can within 24 hours, and you'll see how much you can accomplish. And yeah, we only have one life to live, so do the best that you can and be happy and love. Goodbye.